And we're live. Hi, everyone. It is Wednesday. Last week we did a closing show live on a Tuesday, which was out of the norm, but today is Wednesday. Welcome to the closing show live. If you got the ping and don't know what this is, the closing show live is a weekly live show featuring the people of Proposify, sales stars in the trenches, and revenue leaders. The closing show live is hosted by me, Nadia Milani, VP of Marketing at Proposify. Every week we discuss the challenges we're facing and the no BS lessons we've learned so you can crush your close rates. The Closing Show Live is brought to you by Proposify. Get consistency, control, and visibility into your proposal process. Start your 14-day trial today at proposify.com. Some housekeeping items. I just run through them really quickly at the top of the show because the same questions kind of come up every single week. So a couple things. Sometimes the live will freeze. It happens on LinkedIn once in a while. Just press pause and play again. And then you can catch the recording on the Proposify LinkedIn page or at proposify.com under resources if you want to catch the full episode or you had to run or it froze for you. And so you can catch the full episode later. And we're giving away, we'll give away one swag pack today, Hunter, for those who are commenting and engaging in the chat. We weren't going to give a prize pack today, but you know what? Let's just do it. We're going to give away a Proposify and Closing Shows Live swag pack. By the way, I'm wearing a Closing Show Live t-shirt today. You can't really see it, but we have a whole new slew of Closing Show Live swag. So if you want one, just DM me and I will ship you one after the show. So Hunter will be picking the prize winner, at the end of the show with the prize wheel. So stick around. So what are we talking about today? So today I'm like super excited because we have a customer on the show. So we don't normally do this, but we have this really great relationship with a lot of our customers, but specifically with Everline. So are you still sending proposals in PDF? It might be time for a change, but don't take it from me. So today we're going to be talking to Nigel Baxter. He's the VP of Field Operations at Everline. Everline leveled up their proposals, and not only for one location, but for 59 locations. So we deal with customers who are trying to level up their proposal process at one location. And, Everline just levels it up and they've done it for a whopping 59 locations. So, and because of that, the business is on the up and up. So let's hear more about how Everline took the proposals from proposal zero to proposal hero. So let's welcome Nigel to the show. Welcome, Nigel. Woo!
Thanks, Nadia. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Amazing. I think we officially need some like clapping sound effects. So maybe we'll bring it to the show next time.
These sound effects add something for sure. Yeah.
Every single week I'm like, yeah, with my own clapping. So I think
we need a little sound pad.
Production levels going up next week. We're going to have some sound effects in the house. Nigel, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. And I'd love to just kick it off with just like, who is Everline? Who are you? Let's do a quick intro to the amazing company that Everline is and your role there.
Yeah, so Everline Coatings and Services started 11 years ago now in Calgary, Alberta. So founder John Evans realized there was a niche in the market and it was kind of an underdeveloped market, parking lot maintenance. And at the time it was just line painting. So he built that business in Calgary for, I think it was about 4 or 5 years. And then at that point, he sort of had this aha moment where he's like, I could probably franchise this. Like if this is necessary in Calgary, why isn't it necessary, across Canada? And now, of course, as you know, we're proving that it's necessary across North America, which is really cool. So that's when John sort of reached out to me out of the blue. So we had a kind of a college pro connection. We both did college pro painters through university. And he threw out the idea to me. So I was actually like technically franchisee number one. So I've owned the franchise location for 7 years now. I own the entire province of Saskatchewan. So we service a lot of land with not a lot of people, but a lot of land to cover. And we've really just the beautiful thing. I mean, we have a lot of things we bring to the table. We're really, communication's incredibly important. We bring a lot of technology, which is what we're going to be talking about today, to the table, to a space that's really underdeveloped and kind of old school, to be honest with you. And that's what appealed to me at the start. And I'll be honest with you, we were nowhere as technically advanced then 7 years ago as we are now. And it's just made huge strides. And what we've been able to find, and, just to jump right into kind of Proposify, what we found is that, not only could we have, and this is just one area, but we could have, simpler and easier proposal process, but they actually look way better too. So it's kind of that like win-win combination, and it's just been really great for the clients. So yeah, I've been a franchisee for 7 years, and as of 2 years ago, I joined the franchisor side, so VP of Field Operations, which really means I just handle support and training, and the team that manages support and training all the way across Canada and the US. And I'd be amiss if I didn't talk about the US because that's where we're seeing the most growth right now. So we entered the US market a little over a year ago, and we've managed to sell. I think the last number is like 52 or 54 franchises over the last year. So explosive growth, and one of the reasons we've been able to handle that is just the systems we had in place to manage that and to make it easy for the franchisees to bid and produce work.
Love that. Love that story. So their origins was like niching down on this particular part of or this particular business that no one was serving. So totally underserved. Love that because most great company and business stories start off with that. It's like this underserved market. John from Everline, he kind of narrowed down on that, and then here you are, 7 years. I think 7 years later since you've been there, and explosive growth. So 52 franchises in the US in about a year. So that is like explosive growth
Yeah.
if there is any other. Can you take me a little bit through like how did you guys scale so fast? Like that must be like such an interesting story. You talked a little bit about tech, but we'd love to dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, it's been incredible. We didn't expect it at all. I think a year ago we were sitting around a table, sort of anticipating like 7 to 10 new franchisees, and like I mentioned, I think we sold. I think it was 52 last year we sold. So that came with a lot of hard work and effort from the corporate team. We've also had to scale up the corporate team massively, and bring people in that can actually help to support all these franchisees, and make sure we've got equipment and all that sort of stuff. There's lots of logistics and everything that has to come into play. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it speaks to the model itself, and just the fact that it's caught on and been it's exciting for people. It's something, there's return clients. It's tech, often cases year over year revenue with the same clients, especially in the northern states and Canada. Yeah, it struck a chord, I guess, and here we are with 52 and growing every month. That pace hasn't slowed. We're likely on pace to do something very similar again this year.
Amazing. So congrats to that. So we talked a little bit about tools and tech helping you scale that growth. Your customer Proposify. I'd love to understand a little bit about the proposal process circa like 2020. So this is like kind of before this like huge momentum that you're having. What was it about the proposal process, or how was it in 2020? And what about that proposal process made you guys think like we need to dig into here and change something?
Yeah, so there's a couple different aspects here. So just to give you a picture of like what it looked like we were all sending quotes out of QuickBooks. So you're building an estimate in QuickBooks, you're putting all the information in there. But we're sending like a single, maybe if it's a bigger job, sometimes like 2-page PDF document. And you're like, I mean, really all you can do out of QuickBooks is download that PDF, attach it to an email, put a nice little blurb in there, and, thank the client for the time and look for, do the soft close, look forward to working with you. And that was kind of it. It's like once you sent it, it sort of went off into the world, and you just didn't really know. Of course, you could follow up with a phone call, but we all get really busy and phone calls tend to fall off. And before long, you're sitting around wondering, like what happened to that quote? Where did where did that go? So what we realized is that there was a few opportunities. So there was an opportunity to tell more of a story with our proposals, and that sort of actually stems back again to our college pro days. And they used to teach us like when you were presenting to a residential client, you're like working through this estimate with them and sort of explaining and walking them through and telling a story, building value as you work towards the final price. So we realized we have a great story, and there was an opportunity to share that story in a way that we hadn't been able to with a simple like PDF proposal. We also needed analytics. We needed to be able to tell, okay, are they opening it? Are they seeing it? How much time are they spending? We're a multi-service franchise. We've got multiple services, and oftentimes you're quoting multiple services on a single quote. So it's like, okay, how do we know that they're spending more time on seal coating? Let's say we want to know stuff like that so that when we do our follow-up calls, we can actually like hammer in on those things where we know they spent more time. So that was the second one. And the third one was we just needed to speed up the process. So, QuickBooks was quick, but it didn't look all that great. So it's like, okay, how can we make a great looking proposal, but also make it fast for the franchisee? Because a lot of times, especially in our seasonal locations, like it's like you've got a 20 quote backlog that's just sitting constantly. You never feel like you're catching up on it. And so Proposify really helps to just speed that process up, but still give a fantastic looking quote. And the last one that we sort of, I don't know if we thought about this right away, but a great result of using Proposify is that a lot of the times we can't get in front of the decision maker. That's a big piece of sales, but in a lot of cases, like the property manager is not meeting with the guy coming out to do parking lot maintenance. That's the ops manager. So what Proposify also allows us to do is carry that story directly through to the person that's actually making the decision that we just don't have a chance to get in front of. It's not part of their job to meet with contractors, but they make the decisions. So those would be sort of the like four key things I think that we really saw in Proposify and have been able to like leverage since.
Amazing. What was like the breaking point though? Because sometimes, we talked to a lot of prospects that are kind of going through the similar pain points. They've been sending PDFs. They have no visibility into the proposals. They really have no control. So a lot of the different proposals look different depending on which sales rep is sending it,
Yep.
which unit's sending it. So I'm just curious, like, what was it that was like, okay, like we need to make a change here and let's make it now.
I don't know. It's this point where I like shout out Nick and just like say that he was the decision point. No.
Hey,
So
Nick is in our CS team and he's fantastic. So shout out to
great guy.
Nick Brown.
Shout out to Nick. You owe
Yeah.
me some coffee for that, Nick. Yeah, so I think really what it was is just the scale. It's like we realized that we needed to be able to send lots of quotes quickly, but they needed to have more oomph, I guess, to put it. I don't know how to describe that any better. The QuickBooks proposals just weren't doing it. They weren't differentiating us from the pack at all, unless, I always joke when some competitors are sending it like on loose leaf or something like that. Then maybe we looked better than them. But beyond that, we were no different than your average quote. And it was just an opportunity that we saw to sort of step up and be on the front edge of what quoting could and proposals could look like. And speed it up for the franchisees as well with templates and standardization and all that sort of stuff. So I would say that's kind of the tipping point.
How do you implement for 59 and plus locations? So I don't know if you're 59 or more now, but so I know that some companies, although we have a great onboarding implementation team, they sometimes struggle with implementing with one location. So take me through how did you implement across 59 and plus locations?
Yeah, it's always a challenge to implement like on that sort of scale. But we've got a really great training process. So our franchisees, when they buy a location, they go through a 12-week virtual onboarding, and one of those weeks is specifically dedicated to Proposify. So you're actually learning how to build out the quotes. The second thing is we make it as easy as possible for them. Like everything's templated, you just have to drag and drop and put what services in, but you've got your like master template that sort of tells the story and walks the client through. So all that stuff's standardized. And then we really, we end up doing a hands-on training with all of our franchisees. And that's where we really kind of the rubber meets the road. And we actually build out, fake proposals with our franchisees and have them go through the process and send it to us. So we really try to, get them implementing it before they even technically open their business. And then the last thing we do is we just support like crazy around it. We see the value, we see the close rates that it brings. And it's just, so that's where kind of our franchise business coaches or FBC sort of step in and help to coach the franchisees individually at that point on using Proposify. But to be honest with you, it's one of our better utilized systems because it's just so simple. It's just drag and drop, plug in the numbers that the job's going to cost once you've done the estimate and fire it off. So You guys have made it easy. I'll give you absolute
Yes.
kudos. Yeah, yeah. It's like,
If we had the sound effect, the clapping sound effect, we would play right now. Woo!
yeah, well, that's where we need the soundboard. And just to kind of double down on that, like it's really easy for our franchisee to see like why the value's there. It's not all that uncommon. And we combine a video with our proposals as well too. So we take it even a step further. But and that video is like walking them through the proposal. But it's really easy, I think, for the franchisees to see the value of doing it in Proposify. It takes no more time to do it in Proposify, and you have a beautiful looking proposal than it does to do it in QuickBooks. So why would you not, basically?
As a marketer, I've been a buyer of many different software and a lot of different technology, and adoption is key. Like if you can't get your key teams to like adopt it, you're in trouble. So I love like the story of how you really coach and help users within Everline use that because that is so important. And so I love
Hmm.
that story. But I wanted to know a little bit about like because when you adopt a technology as a buyer, kind of like, "Ugh," like I hope this, I hope
Yeah.
out. I hope it delivers on the promise of why we purchased it. For Proposify, it's really adding the visibility, control, and consistency in your proposal process. So I wanted to understand like when for you was like the aha moment of this is really working and this is really helping our business.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it first, like when we first brought on Proposify, I was primarily still a franchisee. So we like implemented it immediately. Yeah, there was some quirks and some things we had to work around and, just learning a new system. But right away, you could start to see, like, I mean, I think the aha moment was like when you get that first bit of feedback saying, like, wow, I've never seen a proposal like this before. And that all of a sudden just solidified in my mind. It was like, yeah, this is the way forward. And from a time standpoint, it was no different. So, and I had analytics all of a sudden. I could see that they were spending more time on a particular service or that they hadn't even opened the quote, so I could follow up and be like, hey, maybe I sent it to the wrong email or, whatever it was. And, so all of those things sort of combined into that like light bulb moment where I was like, yeah, this is the way forward.
Amazing. And was it like, was everyone able to see that? Because there's a other thing when I've implemented tools, like there's like a champion usually, and then, but was it, could you see it at the franchisor level, the franchisee level? If you could take me through that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we saw it on all fronts. Like again, we trained lots on it, and you guys did a great job, like getting us up to speed on it. And then yeah, we just saw like implementation like pretty much immediately, and then that's where we saw like our sales ratio. And for the first time as a franchisor, we were able to like really track our sales ratios as well, which was great metrics for us to see. It's like now we know like it truly is a numbers game, and we know that for however many proposals we send, we're going to win X number of those proposals. And like it adds a lot to our um, ability to just better understand how the franchisee is doing. So yeah, I would say we saw strong implementation, and we benefited then from only having maybe 18 or 20 franchisees. So we were smaller, we were just in Canada. We could really like double down on making sure the Canadians were using and implementing it, and that's made everything. We made a lot of the mistakes and figured everything out and how to properly train and that all that in Canada, so that when we had this explosive growth in the US, it was fairly natural for us to implement Proposify. It was already so ingrained in the systems we do.
Scott says, such a good practice, Nigel. If you can't meet with your customer to walk through the proposal, sending them a video walkthrough is a great option. So I love how you adopted the video because video does help proposals close faster as well as
Yeah,
adding images. And there's a lot of like tips and tricks how to optimize that for the
yeah.
proposal. I'm just curious, can you share some of the results that you were kind of talking a little bit about the close ratios that went up, but any specific results and like data that you were able to associate to the success?
Yeah, I unfortunately can't go super deep. We are sort of like dictated by like our franchise disclosure agreement and stuff like that. But I can tell you that our close rates did go up substantially. That's probably about the best I can do. We can't project any results, so I apologize, but I've got to give you kind of a bad answer on that question. There's not really a whole lot, but I can say like we have seen our close rates go up. We've got lots of franchisees booking lots of work, and I mean the results are there for sure.
one of the things I've done like a number of testimonials and customer testimonials and case studies with our customers. So one of the things that like was the wow moment is like the visibility and being able to see, okay, this is our forecast. These are the proposals that we have out.
Mm.
And this is like kind of our close ratio. And this is like the activity that's happening on this proposal was like a absolute like showstopper for a lot of sales teams, sales managers, and specifically franchises as well, because for the first time, they could really nail down, okay, this is our forecast, and we're probably going to be able to hit it because we sent this out. These are almost getting closed. There's a lot of action visibility or action on these particular proposals. So that was one of the big wow moments. But happy to also hear that your close ratio went up because that is what we promise essentially with Proposify. So love that story.
Yeah, yeah, and that's yeah, absolutely been the case, and just the fact that we can see what the client is doing with our proposal really just gives us way better oversight and indications as to what may happen with that proposal. That's been super cool. It's almost like you're reading their mind. We've got kind of a, not everybody, but we've got an older demographic, I would say, as a client. So they probably don't know that we're tuning in and can see sort of some of this data. And it's just been invaluable for us in terms of our sales process.
Love it. Tom says, so you can replicate Proposify success across multiple business units. Love it. And Marty, yes, we will have a recording after the show. And hi, Sam. Thanks for saying hello and a shout out. So what would you say to companies that are currently still using Word, PDFs, or just like quoting tools without the proposal capabilities that we're bringing to the table?
Yeah, I guess why would be the first question. And I mean, part of me gets it. Like, you've got a system that is seemingly working well. You're comfortable with it. That's just you're in the rhythm. That's the way you've done it forever. But I would really recommend like looking at this process. You can make great looking proposals. They take the same or often less time than it would for you to make one on QuickBooks, or definitely less time than to make one in like Microsoft Word. And you sort of instantly sort of separate yourself from the pack. So it's a great way to stand kind of head and shoulders above your competition. And it's just like, if you have the opportunity to do that, why wouldn't you, I guess.
So I speak to a few, like I've spoken to a few franchisors, and sometimes they kind of don't know what they don't know. So I'm curious, like, so with proposal software, how has it specifically helped franchises or your franchise business?
Yeah, well, I think like the storytelling piece to me is the simple answer. Like, I love the fact that it kind of, it tells you a little bit of a story about who Everline is, what we value, how we operate. It talks a little bit about the services. And then, it has videos included. We were on Dragon's Den, and you can click right into Dragon's Den right through the proposal. Like, it's more interactive. There's more for the client to like look at and see and understand. And in often cases, we're not the cheapest option when it comes to like pricing. And I really feel like we win a lot of those jobs that were even maybe priced a little bit higher on, simply because of our process and the understanding that they get with Everline by seeing everything laid out in a proposal like that for them. It's also, I mean, I haven't even touched on it, but the fact that they can like sign off on a proposal digitally is also great, because they're busy. They love that fact. Like, it's just like, we always joke they could be sitting at the bar, like having a beer on a Friday, and just sign off on a proposal. And it's like, that's done. It's off their plate. Yeah, it's yeah, just so handy in that regard
Yes,
too.
cards, by the way. I've totally signed a proposal at the bar.
Yeah, I think probably soon enough we probably all will have. Yeah. Yeah, it looks good.
Love it.
Done.
So I would love to hear. So what is one thing you would like large companies and franchises to remember about your proposal journey at Everline? Let's just say they're thinking about proposal software, or they're like, yeah, I don't know. But what is one thing that you would love large companies and franchises to remember about this conversation?
Um, I think to me, it's just like the sales process is, it's changed a lot over the years, and I think that we're moving into more of an exponential sales process, and this is just another piece of that equation. So you want to leave like a lasting memory with your clients. You want to tell the story. I've hit on that a few times already. I think, yeah, the thought that I would have is just to take the chance and just give it a shot. I think you'll absolutely see the results. I mean, could it possibly hurt? I don't think so. So that I think would be the closing remarks there for myself on that. Is just take the chance, do it, simplify your process, and have a great looking proposal to present to your clients. Because at the end of the day, it really reflects on your business.
Amazing. Thanks so much for joining us today, Nigel. And just like that,
Oh,
30 minutes is up. It always goes by so, so quickly. But
too
it's
too quick.
yeah, I know it's too quick. If somebody wants to connect with you or they want to learn more about Everline and your business or just about your proposal journey, how can they connect with you? What's the best way?
Probably LinkedIn's would be the best. Email would work as well too. It's just Nigel at everlinecoatings.com. I can't imagine I'll have too many people take me up on that, but you absolutely can. But yeah, that would be the best two ways to reach out and get connected there.
Amazing. There you have it, Nigel Baxter and the Everline proposal journey. So thanks so much for sharing. If
Thanks for
you
having me.
missed if you missed part of it of this conversation, just go back to our LinkedIn page. You can click and see the whole episode, or go to proposify.com, and under resources you will see Closing Show Live, this Closing Show live episode, and all the others that we've streamed. This is our 27th episode of the season. So we've been streaming. We're going strong every single week, and we're at number 27. Thanks again for joining us. Next week, we have Heidi Brianez joining us. She's an SDR team lead at InSquad, and she's going to walk us through how to be the top SDR at your org. She is awesome. I love what I see about Heidi on LinkedIn, and super stoked about our conversation next week. Thanks everyone for joining, and see you at the next one.
Thanks again.